All right, so some of that stuff started coming in. One of the biggest things was the seat, which is here. We got that. It was a total cluster, but we ended up getting it. So it's here. We were waiting for that. One of the biggest things with this build is we need to make it so it fits people my size, and then smaller people, like my 9-year-old son. So there's a pretty big range of people that it has to fit. One of the ways we're doing that is we're going to make the seat slider, set up a seat slider so we can adjust. These are just a universal seat slider that I got from one of the, I don't even remember where it was, but it's like $25, right? So it's not one of those high dollar ones, but will serve the purpose for what we're doing. It's got 7 inches of travel, so that means that, we actually had a drawing that we sat my son, my daughter, and I in, and we measured our legs, and there's about 7 or 8 inches difference as far as the length goes, which sounds pretty crazy, but this will allow us to easily adjust for the different riders that are going to be, or the drivers that are going to be in this thing. Now, what we have to do is we have to make this fit here. So this doesn't line up anywhere close to what those are, because that's just a universal one, which means you can use it for anything. So I have to figure out some kind of bracket that will attach this seat to that slider. And then when we're done with that, we'll place the seat on here and we'll know the actual height of what the seat's going to be. And then we can design and start building out the cage and, you know, what size that's going to be. But we want to know where this is going to sit. We also want to know, as it goes up, your legs, the shape of your legs change, right? So you're not straight-legged, you have a bend in the leg, and that'll help us identify where the seat's going to be, allow us to have enough room in the back for an engine. And really, when you're building it, there's no right or wrong, but you want to have as much information as possible so that you hopefully make a pretty good decision, right? So make sure we have enough room for the engine, make sure we have enough leg room. Want to have this as close to what it's going to be as possible, which will probably be another 3 inches up. Could just measure that, but I really just want it to be here so we can sit in it and know what it's going to be and just kind of touch, feel, and see it. So that's what we're working on today. We have this sitting here the way it's going to be. What I want to do is I want to make sure that we build something that keeps these, because these flop around, right? I want this to be secure, and that I want them to be connected to each other. It'll make it easier to mount it to the frame when we build that out, you know, instead of having it flop around. Also will allow us to set it up there. So I want something that connects the 2 of these. And then that seat is narrower. The rails are narrower. So then once we have these 2 pieces built, cut and then built and screwed together, we can put the seat on there and figure out if we want to drill and tap a hole on the seat in a different place to attach it to those existing ones, or if we want to build some braces across that the seat will sit in. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and get this tube marked out. We've measured between here and we're at 16 inches. So going to go ahead and, I'm just going to measure 16 and so we have this laid out, we have it drilled, have the bolts underneath so the studs are sticking through, and there's definitely enough slop that allows us to adjust this to make it square, because we're not using really long. So I'm just going to thumb these in, so it stays together a little bit. Not doing washers and anything yet, I'm just gonna get this side done, and then I can get the other side. I've got to make sure that the sliders still work with this sticking down. As you'll see if you come over on this side, you know there's a channel there. We just have to make sure that that channel works. We could always flip this around later when we secure it, but see how there's a channel in there? So we want to make sure this slides over this without a problem. It looks like it will, but just want to make sure everything works and this doesn't get in the way. 12 1/2, half of 12 1/2 is 6 1/4. That's my center line. Alright, and here's a measure. Alright, so we have this together. I took some L channel, cut it, measured off the holes, drilled them so I could attach this here. Then we're going to sit the seat on here. I have center lines. We'll measure off from the center here, make sure it's in the center of this. And then what I'll do is I'll probably just tack weld it with the TIG welder while it's sitting there. But this is one of those things where it's important, and the order that you do something is important. Because had we just put these down here, welded them together, then I would have had to hand drill the holes while it was attached, instead of using the drill press and doing this ahead of time. So you have to think through your steps too. Save you a ton of time in the long run. Should we go ahead and put this on? 1/2. So, center line over is 5 inches. And so a 1/16 of an inch right there in the back. And we want to make sure this is landing here. So basically what I want to do is just put a little tack weld there, a tack weld there, to hold it in place. Now, we got to figure out the actual problem here, which is that if you look on this side, this one's flat. It's flat because this piece is flat. Over here, there's a couple wonky things going on with the actual bar for the seat. So we're gonna have to hold that down when I tack that one in. Actually, you're just gonna sit in it. I'm just gonna have you sit in it.
Okay.
Here's the seat bracket we built. Seat adjuster, we made this, and then we made an L channel, which you can see better over here on the outside. Just TIG that together while it's in there, so I have to fully TIG weld it, but let's see if it works. Use a slider, kiddo.
That's so much easier.
Isn't it easier when you put everything together?